If anybody looks at the Department of Justice website, they will see an abundance of medical professionals who are being brought into the criminal justice system for either prescribing or misprescribing pain medication or oxycodone or hydrocodone or fentanyl or morphine and other Schedule II narcotic drugs that get the attention of the DEA. Now, while I was serving 26 years in prison, I was with a lot of physicians who would say that the DEA should not be telling a doctor how to prescribe medicine to a patient. That may be the case, but do you really want to be making that argument from inside of a federal prison? If you're a medical professional, it's important to understand and learn more about the war on prescription drugs, just the war on drugs. I mean, there's been a lot of information in the news about the overprescription of opioids across our country and the way that the toll it has taken on society. So because of that toll, Congress has responded by passing more laws that make it easier to bring physicians into the criminal justice system, and doctors and people that work with doctors, including marketers, people that don't have a healthcare background, are being targeted for government investigations and then for crimes. Our team at Prison Professors really wants to help people understand that concept so they can understand, so they can get a better grasp of the implications of decisions they make during the course of their career. It's really sad for us when we work with professionals who've invested so much on becoming civil servants or public servants, but yet find themselves in the crosshairs of a government investigation or in a criminal prosecution. So one of our teammates has taken the liberty of writing this article, but we know people receive content in different ways. Some people like to read on the web, some people like to watch videos, some people like to listen on podcasts. And so we produce it, our team at Prison Professors produces it in every format. We want to make it as easy for you as possible to understand the ramifications of a problem with the criminal justice system so that you can get the best possible outcome, hopefully avoid the problem altogether. But if you come inside, we want you to have some form of context that will help you deal with your criminal defense attorney better, help you deal with your family better, help you deal with your context better. And that's why we produce new content every day. And we encourage you to subscribe to us on YouTube. We encourage you to subscribe to us on the podcast. And we encourage you to get our newsletter at Prison Professor so that you can stay up to date with news that will help you get the best possible outcome. I am Michael Santos, and on behalf of my entire team, we really want to thank you. But let me go ahead and read this article for you right now. While I'm reading, I will also be giving you some commentary of lessons that I learned while going through a lengthy journey. Here's the article. Increasingly, the Drug Enforcement Administration targets physicians and other medical industry professionals who are seeking to curb the opioid epidemic and hold people accountable. According to the CDC, from 1999 to 2019, nearly 500,000 people died from an overdose involving any opioid, including prescription opioids. The DEA's aggressive efforts to combat the opioid crisis are poised to continue. Oxycodone and other opioids are highly addictive narcotics subject to regulation under the Controlled Substances Act. DEA regularly makes headlines by raiding healthcare businesses, including pain management clinics. It also continues to go after individual doctors and other healthcare professionals who illegally prescribe opioids. Healthcare providers dealing with controlled substances, doctors, physician's assistants, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and pharmacists face significant criminal investigations and prosecutorial risks. Doctors who prescribe a lot of oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl, morphine, and other Schedule II narcotic drugs will definitely get the attention of DEA agents. Besides the DEA, insurance investigations can prompt criminal cases through a Medicaid fraud control unit or a state attorney general's office. State medical boards also investigate allegations of improper prescribing. Finally, many private civil lawsuits against doctors and business owners follow an investigation, and often alleging that a doctor is responsible for a patient's addiction to opioids or was responsible for a death. Due to the potential exposure to investigations and prosecutions, many healthcare professionals now abandon the pain management industry altogether. However, pain medicine practitioners can learn to avoid becoming the target of investigation or facing criminal charges Below, we recommend 5 steps industry practitioners could follow to limit their criminal exposure. And I'm really glad that our colleague wrote this article. We'd also encourage you to visit our website at Compliance Mitigation that shows really how a business owner should really blueprint out their practice and the policies and the procedures they use to make sure they're in compliance. The more you can document strategies and create a paper trail of what you're doing and why, the better position you are going to be to respond if in the unfortunate event that a government investigation targets you. So here's the discussion. The stakes have never been higher. Today, law enforcement has zero tolerance for anyone facilitating the illegal distribution of prescription pain medications like Oxycodone. Doctors and other healthcare industry professionals risk charges of illegally dispensing controlled substances when they or people who work for them engage in practices outside the scope of professional practice and without a legitimate medical purpose. Typically, criminal cases under the CSA against pain management clinics and professionals include allegations such as unlicensed personnel writing prescriptions, prescriptions for no-show patients, cursory medical examinations, medical records that do not corroborate the medical needs for controlled substances, undocumented history of patient substance abuse, and undocumented medical justification for refills or high dosages. If proven, these and similar practices constitute serious violations of the CSA. That's the Controlled Substances Act. In addition to drug distribution charges, criminal charges often include healthcare fraud and money laundering charges, and severe penalties follow for anybody who's convicted. So we've got a link on there that a person can click to get a report of a Montgomery doctor's conviction in a Controlled Substances Act case. Just click that link, and if you're watching us here on YouTube, you can see the news headlines of the Montgomery doctor convicted on 101 counts in the pill mill case. And there's the poor doctor who's, I shouldn't say poor doctor. There's just an individual who is going through this challenge right now and the indignity of facing a criminal prosecution. And the jury convicted this doctor, Richard Stell, on all counts, including drug distribution, healthcare fraud, and money laundering. The jury considered 101 counts against Stell, 94 counts of drug distribution. It was a 3-week trial. And so it's just been a horrific ordeal for this doctor and his family as he's trying to defend himself against these challenges. So, I can assure you, doctors do not believe they're ever going to become the target of a criminal prosecution or potentially face, multiple decades in prison. But sadly, our nation's commitment to mass incarceration is just putting people in for longer terms. And it's really important for people to learn, okay, what can I do to mitigate where I am? More importantly, what can I do to avoid this in the first place? So the pro tip that our team member gives is remember to consult criminal defense counsel for legal advice regarding any court case. And, we've got a team of people that can help help with attorneys all over the country. We really encourage people to understand the journey ahead. Like in any investigation or prosecution, there's a range of potential outcomes in Controlled Substance Act criminal probes. And our team works alongside criminal defense attorneys to help people proactively navigate the system, but get the best possible outcome, which you can translate into getting your confidence back, knowing that you're working towards getting out early. We want to help you get the best outcome. Here's 5 steps that we recommend. 1, be proactive. Learn the rules of the road. Study the legal and regulatory requirements for prescribing controlled substances. Attend continuing medical education programs, but also let me read these 5 before I start going off script and giving you my thoughts. Carefully document the patient's legitimate medical purpose for all Schedule II substances. Update the records regularly. Do audits. Contemporaneous medical records alone can stop an investigation from going further. Keep up with the concerns of the DEA and the statements by state boards and insurance companies. For example, if the DEA is highly concerned about patients reselling drugs, learn to spot the red flags in your practice. And that's not only for doctors, but also for pharmacists. 4, speak up. If other healthcare office or pain clinic professionals are unaware of the issues discussed here, share the information, speak up, become an ambassador for good compliance. 5, if you're unsure, consult your colleagues. Sharing information and best practices helps everyone avoid criminal investigations. Also, what we're missing there that I think we really need is make sure you learn about white-collar crime. Learn about how big what the growth industry here of government investigations and why our government is investing so much in the way of resources to identify people who have violated the Controlled Substances Act, investigate them, prosecute them, and understand the cost, because it'll help you be a better leader. So, are you a pain management industry practitioner worried about exposure to a criminal investigation or prosecution? Well, here are an additional 5 steps that can help anyone navigate that process and improve their overall outcome. Step 1, be proactive and honest. Take an honest and realistic assessment of the situation. There are many more options to deal with the potential problem at the outset of an investigation. For example, in some cases, there may be an opportunity to provide information to investigators. If an investigation is already underway, counsel may be able to work out a pre-indictment agreement. 2, talk to experienced counsel and consultants. An honest assessment may lead people to realize the need to consult a criminal defense lawyer and sentencing mitigation consultants with extensive experience in white-collar crime investigations and sentencing issues. You really need subject matter experts by your side, because it's just such an unknown and unfamiliar territory with such monumental ramifications. Talk to sentencing mitigation consultants. Have a sentence mitigation team from the outset of an investigation can likely improve your outcome and also help you get your confidence back, so that you know, okay, there's a way through this. This is not the end of my journey. It is a terrible obstacle that I've got to overcome, but you can overcome it. And you're here, and we're not just giving you a happy talk. These are somebody who's gone through, multiple decades in prison. There's a way through this. And you've got to start, the sooner you start working toward a better resolution, the better off you're going to be. So take those significant steps of learning what the judges want to consider in order to grant leniency. We recommend really working with subject matter experts that can help you understand every phase of the mitigation process. Also, step 4, create a post-sentencing strategy. Even after the sentencing hearing, there are many strategies available that can lead to a better outcome through prison and hopefully an earlier release date and a more successful transition back into society. Take charge of reentry plans. That's step 5. People can bounce back after a criminal conviction and a prison term, but success doesn't happen by accident. You didn't become a healthcare professional by accident, and you're not going to move through this by accident with your dignity intact. You've got to, embrace that concept of a CEO mindset of defining the best possible outcome, of putting strategies in place, putting priorities in place, creating your plan, creating tools, tactics, and resources that are going to help you, and then executing your plan every day, always holding yourself accountable. So in conclusion, an investigation under the Controlled Substances Act is an extremely serious matter. It can lead to the loss of liberty for multiple decades. So any doctor who prescribes Oxycodone, Hydrocodone, Fentanyl, Morphine, or other Schedule II narcotics really needs to understand the DEA's scrutiny of those doctors. And if you're outside of the bell curve, prescribing more than what the government thinks is normal, you can anticipate that there will be people behind the scenes investigating, and you would be really wise to be proactive in creating a strategy to help you get the best possible outcome. And if you want more information, we really encourage you, visit our websites at Prison Professors so that you can get that information. Make sure that you look at our various platforms on YouTube. That would include White Collar Advice and Prison Professors. My partner, Justin, is really the nation's preeminent expert on white-collar crime and the complications that follow. I think the more that you learn, the more confident you're going to be that you can recalibrate and get back on track. And our team certainly wants to help you, which is why we produce content every day. It's on the Prison Professors website. It's also on YouTube. It's also on the podcast. We would really encourage you to subscribe to our content, and also make sure that you get on our mailing list so that we can share information, so that you can receive the information that we share every week with our team. I really want to thank you for being a part of our community. My name is Michael Santos. I want to, everybody on our community has gone through an investigation, has served time. We produce free content to help people like you realize, hey, this isn't the end of the journey. I can get through this. And we never ask anybody to do anything that we didn't do. But we do know that mass incarceration is a great social injustice of our time. It afflicts not only the individual who's targeted, but also the family members, and it influences prospects for success in the future. So we really make a commitment to helping people understand, how do I get through this in the best possible way? Again, I am Michael Santos with Prison Professors. Want to really thank you for being a part of our community.